So our tools reset, and we're taking a look at Ogremoch, a gargantuan elemental with 20 AC. Again, it's a gargantuan monster with 27 hit dice and a constitution score of 28. 15 wisdom and 22 charisma. Should be a CR 20. Let's see if that actually happens. With the base stats out of the way, we will jump into the skills area of strength, constitution, and wisdom for a saving throw of 3, giving Ogremoch a +2 AC bonus. And then we also have damage resistances and only 1 damage immunity condition. So we'll throw in damage resistance, which probably won't give us anything, surprisingly enough. But it's because it's a CR 20. Yeah, just like I thought. We're only going to get a 1 times the hit points, so I think it's after CR 15 or 16. Again, I got to put that chart in place. Your monsters don't get anything for resistances because more than likely players that are fighting a CR 20 should have something to counteract non-magical weapon resistances. Moving down into the monster trait section, we have empowered attacks. Ogremoch's slam attacks are treated as magical and adamantine. And for our purposes, empowered attacks doesn't matter. After that, we have innate spellcasting of Meld into Stone, Move, Earth, and Wall of Stone. I believe Wall of Stone doesn't do any kind of damage, so we're going to skip over the innate spellcasting since there's no kind of damaging spells here, and move into the legendary resistances, which are standard and gives Ogremoch an extra 90 hit points over 3 turns. And then we have Magic Resistance, a pretty common duo here, giving an additional +2 AC bonus. And then the Siege Monster. So Ogremoch just does a whole bunch of damage to objects. Moving on, we'll move into the attacks section here and see that Ogremoch is getting a +4 to hit for its attack bonus. And we have, what do we got? Multi-attack of 2 slams. Alright, well, while we're here, let's throw the slam attacks in. And straight off, just 30 bludgeoning damage. That's all it is. Pretty straightforward. And the multi-attack is just 2 of these. So hopefully Ogremoch's doing a whole bunch of other damage. Otherwise, I don't know what's going on here. But so far, we're looking at a DCR of 27, which is pretty funny. So we have 2 slam attacks for 60 average damage. And then we also have Boulder and Summon Elementals. So Boulder is a ranged weapon attack and will hit 1 target for 46 average damage, plus knock them prone. Now the problem is prone is a condition. And since there is just a chance of it either being yes or no to the condition, this may be why D&D doesn't count most conditions here. As I explained in one of my previous live streams, restrained and grappled is based off the attack of the monster, and that's why they count that in. With things like Boulder here and a DC check, although it is strength and it's a high check of 23, there's still a chance of just not being knocked prone. So I think this is why they don't count conditions into the CR calculation, to be honest. So the Boulder is going to be 46.5 damage, but we won't be using that probably unless it comes up as a legendary action. And then we also have Summon Elemental. Summon Elemental isn't going to help Ogremoch besides being a block, but also increasing the difficulty of the encounter. So there's going to be no effect on the CR here either from Summon Elemental. It's just a damage shield technically on the side, but players can ignore the Elemental or potentially even control it, I think with a Druid. I don't play Druid, so I don't remember off the top of my head. Alright, now we have Legendary Actions. 3 for, I said Lugaroo. 3 for Ogremoch. The first one being Illuminating Crystals. Ogremoch's Crystalline Protrusions flare. Each creature within 30 feet becomes outlined in orange light, shedding dim light in a 10-foot radius. So this is basically Fairy Fire. Pretty neat. I like the ideas of how this happens, and it's just like a big old burst of energy, and all of a sudden people are now glowing. So Legendary Action 1 has no effect, besides just people can't benefit from being invisible and whatnot. Or hidden as well, more than likely. Stomp. Costs 2 actions. Ogremoch stomps the ground, creating an earth tremor that extends in a 30-foot radius. I would expect a bigger radius from a gargantuan monster, to be honest. But anyways, again, creatures fall prone. No effect here, as I explained before. And then the last one is create gargoyle. Okay. Ogremoch's hit points are reduced by 50 as he breaks off a chunk of his body and places it on the ground in an unoccupied space within 15 feet of him. The chunk of rock instantly transforms into a gargoyle and acts on the same initiative count as Ogremoch. Ogremoch can't use this action if he has 50 hit points or fewer. Okay, so again, just like the create elemental, this is only going to increase the difficulty of the encounter, adding more experience rewards to the players, provided this isn't the end of the campaign. And sadly, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't make any difference. This isn't looking too good for Ogremoch so far. We do have Lair Actions, so hopefully there's going to be something there, I guess. Let's see what we get for Lair Actions. Alright, so the first Lair Action is a 10-foot radius or area of rocky or earthy ground within 60 feet of Ogremoch turns to sticky mud, and creatures become restrained. A creature can take an action and make a strength check, ending the effect. Okay, that's helpful. Let's throw that in as an effect to restrain people, and I'm going to give it to 2 because this is an AoE restraining. And this will happen potentially every other round of combat because of how Lair Actions work. So I'm going to put Constrict and Blood Frenzy here. No, not Blood Frenzy, excuse me. Avoidance. Only for the AC bonus of 2 players being caught in the muddy earth here for 1 round of combat in the Lair Action. Now for the second Lair Action, crystalline spikes grow on the ground in a 20-foot radius, etc., etc. The area becomes difficult terrain. A creature that moves through the area is affected takes 1d8 piercing damage for every 5 feet it moves there. Creatures that are knocked prone in the area also take this damage. Let's see here. There's not a lot of damage, so this really isn't even worth looking into. I mean, if a person wants to move through it, it's going to be difficult terrain, right? So they can only move 15 feet in theory. And if 2 people, unless they're going to dash, so we'll say 15 feet, so we'll do 3d8 times 3 for the 15 feet times 2 people. So we're potentially looking at 21 points of possible damage. That's about the best I can do there. I'm not going to go too crazy with it. And that can be done pretty much once every other round. And then the last Lair Action is a violent tremor shakes the lair. Each creature other than Ogremoch must succeed on a strength or dex save or be knocked prone. So again, unfortunately, there's nothing there as well. Alright. So let's see what kind of output we got here, because Ogremoch is not doing a lot of damage so far. So we got multi-attack plus the Lair Action for some damage, provided 2 players move through it, and that's just a sheer guess. Round 2 will just be the multi-attack plus something else, and then round 3 is, again, 60 plus possibly the Lair Action here. How did that even happen? How did we get CR21? What? It's supposed to be a 20, and somehow, out of all that hemming and hawing that I did, and not thinking this was going to happen, we're underrated by technically 1. I don't understand how that happened. And if we only use 1 Lair Action for the difficult terrain, which more than likely is going to be the case, we're still at, wow, we're still at a CR21. That is mind-boggling. Huh. Was not expecting that. So, you want a real tanky monster? Here you go. DCR 28 is pretty absurdly tanky. That is disturbing. What happens if we take that off too? Alright, if we take off the potential for the Muddy Earth from one of the Lair Actions, I think it was? Yeah, if we take off the Muddy Earth there for the other Lair Actions, so we technically have a CR20. And let me go back here just for the heck of it and put this back in place. Alright, so Ogremoch is somewhere around 20 or 21. So without the Lair Actions, Ogremoch is even rated. And even then, with the crystalline spikes or the muddy earth, there's not a good chance of that kind of stuff happening, but we should technically take that into account. So without the Lair Action, Ogremoch is a CR20. This is an even rated monster, somehow. With as little damage as this monster is doing, and the massive defenses that it has, as we can see here in the dark blue, they pulled off a CR20. This is absurd.